This week, Elon Musk's SpaceX completed a historic NASDAQ listing at a whopping $1.7 trillion valuation, opening at $150 and rocketing to $172 in day one. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, the Dangote Refinery just raised over $1 billion in an oversubscribed private placement, valuing the company at $39.1 billion ahead of its public offer. Now, if seeing these massive corporate moves makes you feel like you are left out, right? Or you're wondering how everyday people can actually get a slice of the pie when the deep pockets have already taken a massive bite, you are actually not alone. But here's the reality, right? Institutional players aren't smarter than you. They just have a structural roadmap for their capital. And in this video, we're going to be unpacking the ultimate diagnostic, really. Is SpaceX a stock that is an immediate buy or a pure speculative high? How do you safely get access to global equities from where you are sitting? And most importantly, how do you position your capital, whether you are investing your daily 2K or restructuring your major retirement portfolio, right, to catch the upcoming Dangote public refinery offer, right? If you want to stop chasing headlines and finally start building a proper financial framework, then let's talk about this, right? If you don't know, my name is Ola. I'm a CFA charter holder. I have almost 20 years experience in finance and global markets, and I welcome you to the channel that serious Africans come to learn about money, investing, economy, and personal finance in simple English. If you want to secure your finances, this is the channel, so hit the subscribe button and let's dive in. Of course, we are going to start with the deal that had everyone in their feelings this week. Dangote Refinery just sold 3 billion shares at 35 cents through a private placement. The private placement was in dollars. The goal was to raise $1 billion. They got over $2 billion in demand. Dollars, though, not naira, right? Now, if you don't know, a private placement is when a company sells or raises money, sells their shares directly to a select group of rich individuals or large financial institutions or large institutions, rather than selling to the general public on the exchange. Now think of it like an exclusive invite-only sale, like a Novex is just what it is, right? The Dangote Refinery private placement required a minimum subscription of about 25 million naira, about $350,000 actually. But don't be distracted. Don't miss the point. Don't say, who's that for? Just chill. The fact is that private placements were never designed for retail investors. They're designed for people like pension funds, asset managers, HNIs, family offices, the kind of people that can casually move 500 million from one investment to another and just go on like nothing happened, right? So the point here is that the sophisticated investors have looked at the numbers, looked at the company, its operations, looked at the cash flow, and have decided that this valuation at $39.1 billion, it actually works for me, and they want to be a part of it. That's information, right? And even though you can't access it right now, that is good information to keep in mind, right? Now, if you saw the headlines and thought, it has gone, I've missed my chance, just breathe. It was a private placement. That's not the IPO. Private placements. And they are designed to be private, right? Very few clients, deep pockets. And so it's not a big deal. It's actually not a big deal. Most companies do this. Companies generally do private placements. They do it like it's not a big deal. And thing to note is that usually priced lower than the public offer itself. So if the public offer is coming out at 100, they will probably give the private placement at 90 at a discount, right? But what are they trying to do by these private placements? They want to get bulk money, right? They want to attract deep pockets to make big decisions at once. Right now, it's also important to know that there was over 2 billion in demand, right? I've said already that the company was valued at 39.1 billion, but there's one number that you need to take note of. 365. What is that? The lockup period. Every single investor, that's whole 1 billion, right, in this placement agreed in writing that they cannot sell their shares for 1 full year, right? 1 full year, or whenever the board agrees. Let's think about this. These are people investing hundreds of millions of naira or thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And they are fine with saying, I will not touch my money for 1 year. Meanwhile, and I say this with plenty of love, some of us will buy shares on Monday and start checking for profits on Wednesday. Yo, take your sub, right? The fact is that the difference isn't just money, it's about mindset, right? These investors are thinking long. They are not thinking weeks, they are thinking long, right? Now, so what does this whole private placement mean for you, right? Because, I mean, they've done it, right? But number one, oversubscription is information. It tells that there's demand. There's going to be demand when the public offer comes. But I think I've said it before that when public offers are done, there's always that preference for retail. This is not one of those things where you want to go and do under a fund and put all your money there, because institutional they'll first allocate generally to retail, that's individuals, before they allocate to corporate, or they prorate the balance to corporates. So whatever retail money you have, there's a case for it, but understand that it will be there's a lot of demand, right? And so you can't act on it right now. There's nothing you can do, but understand that, okay, I need to be prepared. I need to set up everything, and I'll talk about what you need to set up. Second, the lockup, that 365 days, it protects you. Because when the public offer eventually comes, you won't have those day one profit takers that are flooding the markets to crash the price. There'll be some stability, right? And because the early money is locked in, right? And the third thing is that you need to understand that this is your homework period. The IPO is expected around September 2026. That gives you a couple of months to understand the business, months to get your brokerage account in order, months to decide what price works for you and how much to actually invest, because that question comes up a lot. I saw that when MTN was doing their IPO, how much should I put? This is the time to ask those questions, right? Now, if you don't know how much, if you don't have a framework, we have a simple tool, a financial planning tool for a year, right? That will help you break down your finances. You put all your information and it just gives you like feedback, right? So you know how much you can actually invest in a stock, right? Based on how much you actually have, not what you think you have. Link is in the description. It's financial planning tool. And of course, if you would like me to dissect the company, Dangote Refinery, in a standalone video, just breaking down what people should be looking at and stuff to make their decision, please tell me in the comment section. And I'm saying that now because when the IPO arrives, social media will be full of refinery experts who couldn't explain the difference between crude oil and cooking oil the week earlier. Yeah? Does that sound familiar? So don't be that person. Be ready. Now, if Dangote Refinery is an opportunity that you can prepare for, SpaceX is happening right now. It's happening right now. And the numbers are wild. Basically, SpaceX has officially gone to the market. They've gone public. They raised $75 billion and they debuted on the NASDAQ at $150 per share. Their initial public offer was at $135, and then they entered the market at $150, and then they hit $170 in the market on day one. So the company is valued somewhere short of $2 trillion. It makes it one of the most valuable companies on earth. And this is the biggest IPO in history. So there's a valid reason for all the hype that you are hearing, right? But of course, if you opened social media this week, you would have seen like two broad opinions, right? On one side, people are saying that this is the opportunity of the lifetime. On the other side, people are saying this is ridiculously overpriced, run away. Now, the question that you will have is, should I buy? Because now it's listed, right? And there are opportunities, even if you are in Nigeria, there are tools, and we can talk about that later. There are ways you can actually access the market, access and buy SpaceX. But it's important to know that the truth is always hiding somewhere between the excitement and the panic, right? I might just mention that if you don't know, SpaceX, Nvidia, you can buy them if you're in Nigeria. You can buy them if you're in the UK, and we can drop. There's a video I did on how to access global stocks. Right, I will drop the link in the description. I might also pop it up somewhere if that's possible also, so that you can click on it and watch and know and take action, right? But before, we're going to talk about SpaceX, analyze the pros and the cons. But let's delay in foundation. Let's talk about investing. One of the things that you need to know about investing is that whenever you are deciding on a company to buy or a stock, in fact, understand that when you're buying a stock, you're buying a company, right? So there are two questions that matter. Is this company going to make money in the future? Is this company going to make good money in the future? Yeah. And then two, is the current share price worth paying for that business? Is the current value, is it well valued, right? Now, notice what is missing. I just said two things. Notice what is missing. What Elon tweeted. What everybody is buying. What that WhatsApp group is saying is the next Apple. My question or my statement to you is focus. If you are an investor, not a trader, investing is fundamentally about what this company is going to give you in the future, what this business can generate and how it can convert into the valuation of the company. It's not about the excitement surrounding it today. So your decision to buy or not is that we are going to look at the things that investors are actually looking at. Right? That's it. Now, so what is SpaceX? Most people think it's just a rocket company, but it's not. Today, it's really three businesses wearing one spacesuit. Yeah. Space launch service, right? Which obviously SpaceX, that's a rocket business, and they are number one in that space. Let's not lie, right? Because even Jeff Bezos' company is struggling, right, in that space. They just blew themselves up a couple of days ago. Now, two, second business is Starlink. Starlink is like literally the jewel in the crown, right? They are trying to provide internet to the world from space, and they are creating some intelligent things from that space. So it's really, and it has millions of subscribers and it's growing very fast. So that's good. And then three, artificial intelligence, right? XAI. But then we know that AI and R&D, AI and research, AI and trying out new things are like 5 and 6. So XAI is consuming cash like a teenager that is consuming data bundles. Yo. So my question on what people are really talking about is, if SpaceX is making 18 billion in a year in revenue, why are they declaring a loss? What is the math is not mathing. And I understand it confuses people. It's just very simple. Under US accounting rules, research and development costs hit your profits directly. What that means is that every field prototype, every AI training run, every engineering, anything, all that, any training of AI or whatever, right? It all gets charged to profit. So even though the company is making money, right, they are burning a lot. So it's like building a house. You are putting a lot of money and your accountant comes and says you are broke. You're not actually broke, you're building, right? So SpaceX is not actually losing money because people are not buying its products. It's losing money because it's spending aggressively to build products of the future, right? Now, whether these products or investments pay off is the $1 trillion question, literally. But why are investors excited? Because number one, Starlink can become a monster. There's so much room to growth, right? SpaceX has almost no competition. That's the second business. And then thirdly, there's a chance that AI, the AI tool, there's room for it to blow, right? There's room. But there's room, right? And the other thing to also note is that due to the new NASDAQ rules, right? There's some new rules that were released by NASDAQ. Any new listing that ranks in the top 40 in market value can be added quickly to their index, their NASDAQ 100 index. So understand that when there's an index in a stock market, every fund manager that tracks that index must buy that stock. So what has literally happened is that because it came in at a very high valuation, it made it into the top 40 on the NASDAQ, right? Made it into the FTSE Russell, right? But on a normal day, they would have said, no, there should be like a cool-off period before you're added. But the FTSE Russell, NASDAQ 100, I think MSCI index, global index also, they've taken away those rules. So in the next couple of days, right, this stock is going to be listed on those in those indices, right? What that means that every fund manager that tracks that index must buy the stock, whether or not they believe the company is overvalued. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that you just telling us that Mr. Musk understands the game. In simple English, demand has a chance of exceeding supply. Only because there's a very little amount of the stock in circulation, and so when demand obviously chases limited supply, prices will rise, at least initially. Yeah. Now, this is where you should now be careful, because this is where the cons come in. The valuation is extreme. At 1.7 trillion, or slightly short of $2 trillion, you are paying like 95 times the revenue of the company. For context, right? Nvidia, the bride of the whole world, is trading at 96 times its revenue, and it's doing well. It's paying dividend. It's profitable now. And this company that is not profitable, you cannot compare the revenue lines. And he's saying he wants to be valued at trillions. Yeah, just can you see? Then Tesla is trading at 12 times its revenue. And on average, S&P 500, the top 500 companies on the S&P index, the Standard & Poor's index, they trade around below 3. So this is not just optimism in evaluation. It is optimism on steroids. Like optimism that woke up after drinking 3 bottles or 3 cans of Red Bull. This valuation is betting on an extraordinary future success, right? And anything less will actually disappoint investors. Another thing that's also scary is that Elon controls everything. He set up a voting structure where he has 80% voting rights, meaning that you will all know, he's not arguing with you, you have economic interest, you have economic reward. But if you disagree with a decision, you may complain. Nothing will happen. That's another thing. And the third thing is that this AI bet is quite shaky, right? The AI bet is burning millions. But of course, if it gets into the mainstream to be matching heads with OpenAI and Anthropic, fantastic. But if not, that's a very expensive lesson. Another thing to also think about is that SpaceX as a company is not critical infrastructure. It's very different from the electric vehicle business, which sat pretty under climate change and all that. And it's also very different from critical energy infrastructure like Dangote Refinery, right? So the fact is that if they don't deliver, the world will not shake. Government's not going to bail them out. There's nothing. Do you get? We just have to watch and hope, right? So should you buy? If you are looking for a stable, mature company generating predictable return, then SpaceX probably is not your stock as an investor. But that whole stable maturity, blah, 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 that's what Dangote Refinery is offering you. And you can see how Africa, and I dare say the whole world, needs what Dangote Refinery is selling, right? And of course, like I said, if you want me to unpack the business, then like from an analyst perspective, in simple English, obviously, let me know in the comment section. And if you see someone asking a question, if you have any questions, right, around anything, and you want me to answer, and you see a question someone asked and you would like to get an answer, please like it so that we know that, okay, people really want to hear this. I'm happy to get to just record something, right? And of course, if that unpacking will help you with to avoid had I known in any direction, positive or negative, right? So like I said, if you're looking for stable, matured, SpaceX is not your thing. But if you are looking for a speculative bet on some fancy things, very fancy things like the future of global internet, commercial space infrastructure, going to Mars, reusable rocket, artificial intelligence, and most importantly, Elon Musk's ability to execute, then perhaps SpaceX should be on your watch list. Now, but notice the keyword. I mean, that's what this channel is about. It's speculative. It's not guaranteed. There are too many things that could go wrong along the way, right? It's going to be a very long journey, and it will have a lot of bumps. And until the cash burn slows down, right, and it actually enters into a proper profit region, the people that would most likely benefit from this stock will be traders, such that if you want to buy it, then it must be a stock that you have a plan to put triggers. Okay, I'll exit at this time, I'll come in at this time, kind of thing, as against buy and go to sleep, because that sleep might be a really long one. Just putting it out there, right? So my question to you is, are you buying SpaceX? Now, okay, before I even go to that, it's also important to note that when you say two times money back is two times money back. You might be wondering why I am putting Dangote 39 billion and SpaceX 1 trillion in the same conversation. But if you think about it, if Dangote is valuing at 39 billion, and let's say, okay, whatever, he says 50 billion for the IPO, but let's just be sweet and give him 50 billion valuation. Which one is easier to achieve? A 50 billion to 100, or a 1.7 trillion to a 4 trillion? Yeah? That's how you think about it when it comes to investing. So 2x is always 2x, wherever you decide to put your money. So don't just look at one and say, why would I do this stock or this, right? Think about it from a valuation and investment and a growth perspective. And of course, if you want to get a sneak peek into the investments that I am eyeing every week, join the waitlist for the Money with Light. We launch in July. And finally, do not forget that you can't outsource your health and your finances. All the links will be in the description, and know that nobody can go to the gym on your behalf and you'll be fit. Nobody can eat vegetables on your behalf and you'll be healthy. So that's the same way that you need to engage with your finances. See you in the next video. Hey, God, I beg. I hope this thing recorded though.